Thanks for listening to Creative Control. While I have you here, please consider supporting Youth Empowerment and Support Services, otherwise known as YES. Based in Edmonton, Alberta, YES provides immediate and low-barrier overnight and day shelter, temporary supportive housing, and individualized wraparound supports for young people aged 15 to 24. They work collaboratively within a network of care focused on the prevention of youth homelessness by providing youth with the necessary supports to stabilize their housing, improve their well-being, build life skills, connect with community, and avoid re-entry into homelessness. Learn more about how to donate or otherwise support YES by visiting yess.org.
Hey, this is Trevor from Halifax, calling in to say that I support Creative Control on Patreon because I think long-form arts journalism is a crucial part of music culture, and there's simply not enough of it out there today. Vish is a master interviewer, he lands great guests, and he has his finger on the pulse of the ever-changing music landscape, both here in Canada and abroad. For all of these reasons and many more, I think you should support Creative Control on Patreon too.
To make your flexible monthly donation to Creative Control, please visit patreon.com/Creative Control today. I'm Vish's wife, and I will love him no matter what you do. And now he has me on the record saying that.
Enno Williams and Max Grunhard are each songwriters and musicians based in London, England. Born in London but raised in Nigeria, Williams is a bold singer, lyricist, and performer. Originally from Australia, Grunhard is a talented, conservatory-trained multi-instrumentalist and composer who encountered Williams in London's vibrant live music community. Since 2013, the pair have been collaborating in the electronic Afro-funk pop band Ibibio Sound Machine, singing songs in Ibibio and English, and delighting audiences around the world. On May 3rd, 2024, Merge Records released the spirited and very positive fifth album by Ibibio Sound Machine. It's called Pull the Rope, and it prompted Enno and Max to join me for a very fun talk about things like what drew them to both live in London, a love for Ninja Tune Records, which was definitely not originally based in Montreal, nor did Kid Koala ever play against me on Ninja Tune's Good Times Hockey League of the Arts team. I'm sorry. As you'll see, I am apologizing now. As you'll see, I'm sorry. This was all my bad. We also talked about things like aspirational truths and the clarinet, how music is a language, Enno's exposure to highlife and jùjú music, and why openly loving Fela Kuti could be precarious. Empathy, inclusion, and improvisation, intergenerational culture clashes, working with producer Ross Orton, upcoming tour dates, other future plans, and much more. A part of the Entertainment One network with the support of listeners just like you who follow and subscribe to this listener-supported and donor-driven podcast. Spread the word about it, leave nice reviews and ratings on your podcast platform, and make flexible monthly donations at patreon.com/Creative Control, which is the primary and most reliable way for podcasters like me to make a living. This is my primary source of income. And also where a $6 subscription means you can access every single episode of this show in its entirety, which is not the case without that subscription, and indeed not the case for this particular episode. However, again, subscribe today at the $6 a month level if you can afford to do so, and you'll never miss an entire episode. And there's other tiers, both lower and higher than $6 with different benefits. So again, if you can afford to, and don't want to miss anything that happens with my work here on the show, please visit patreon.com/Creative Control and become a subscriber today. Thank you so much. Plus, in-kind support from independent businesses like Pizza Trocadero, The Bookshelf, and Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, Ontario, and Grandad's Donuts in Hamilton, Ontario. This is episode 876 of Creative Control, featuring the lovely and very funny Enno Williams and Max Grunhard, with your host, me, Vish Khanna. Please enjoy this excerpt from our conversation, and to hear the whole thing, again, subscribe to the show at patreon.com/Creative Control. Enno, I had asked Max about some of his musical influences, or rather, he offered them and suggested that London had a scene that appealed to him. What were your musical influences growing up?
I mean, growing up, I grew up I spent a lot of my formative years in Nigeria. So at home, my dad would play in stuff like Manu Dibango, Angelique Kidjo, and even Beatles, Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston. So there was like always music in the house. And then when we'd go away to the country at Christmas time, we'd have like things like more like the traditional musicians who would come and play like all these like sort of earthy tribal instruments, and there was always that around as well. So there was always music growing up. So I feel like I was introduced to music of the West quite early on, also with the highlife music and West African music as well. And of course, then moving to London, it was like a whole different, ballgame, because the music then coming into London was like kind of different. So I kind of adapted that as well. So I feel like I got influences from both parts of the world.
I see. Now, we've already established that you're a huge fan of mathematics and calculating figures. In terms of taking your interest in music, Western or otherwise, how did you go from liking it to thinking, I can do this, I can sing, I can write? Do you remember?
Well, earlier on, I sang with my sisters growing up as a teenager. My mom got us together and formed this like little like youth group where we sang in churches and conventions, but it was just pretty much stuff we did like on holiday. So there was that, onset of like doing music anyway. But then when I moved to London, I carried on, singing in choirs and just doing like sessions here and there. And I just sort of enjoyed singing. And obviously meeting Max, we kind of started this whole process of, bringing music of the West and mixing it with African music. And then that was sort of how Ibibio kind of came into the mix, because my grandmother had sort of teased me like earlier, and she would say, oh, well, you're always singing in English. When are you going to sing in Ibibio?
Right.
So then that idea, then it kind of was very, very organic. I mean, I didn't even think too much of it. We thought, okay, well, let's give it a go. Let's try it.
We kind of made our first record and didn't really think anything much was going to come of it.
Literally, we just thought, oh, let's try this. It's never been done before. And then it was more of an experiment that kind of worked, I guess.
So, Enno, is this your first band?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Much, yeah.
That's fascinating in itself. Okay. So Max, similar question. We've kind of talked about you coming to London, but let's go back to Australia if we can for a moment. What got you into music as a young person? Do you remember?
It's kind of an embarrassing story.
Those are my favorite ones.
Okay, the honest truth is my dad had a clarinet sitting in the cupboard, but I'd never picked it up. Never played it. He used to play it when I was very small, and one of my friends in primary school had started learning the clarinet and told me they were learning the clarinet, and I said, well, yeah, I can play the clarinet, but I actually couldn't. I'd never touched it. So then I thought, oh gosh, I better be able to back up this tall tale. So I asked my parents to get me some clarinet lessons. So that's how I started, basically.
You're not the first. You're not the first current musician to reveal that in their origin story they lied about knowing how to play the instrument. That, like, people have told me on the show, like, yeah, so they were advertising for a guitar player, so I showed up, but I'd never played guitar before. I'm like, why? Why are people lying about this? Do you remember, now that you have perspective on it? Why would you lie?
I guess
about knowing how to play the clarinet of all things?
I don't think I was even old enough for it to think about it being cool to be a musician. I was just wanted to be cool as far as my friends were concerned.
But
it's kind of ironic that the idea of learning clarinet, I could consider that to be cool. But there you go.
My son does this all the time, though. He'll say, like, I know how to do that. I'm like, okay, show me. And then he can't.
Yeah.
I'm like, so why would you say you know how to do something if you can't? When it's you have to demonstrate. Oh, you know how to play clarinet? Go for it. All right.
Well, maybe kids actually are aware of their potential more, so they could think that they could do something, and in actual fact, they could learn to do it. So maybe that's something with youth that you can get.
I think the kids always feel like I think it's just
they don't hesitate to jump.
Yeah,
on
they want to
bash a piano.
They want to jump on it and show that they can do it, you know. And I feel like you do have to encourage them, even when they're like, oh yeah, I can do that, and then when they have to prove themselves and like they're like, okay, but yeah, you do have to encourage them because like it feels like they want to. Yeah,
I'm glad it's not. I'm not like the most singularly embarrassing person in musical history. Then.
No. I'm saying this happens quite a bit, and it's just interesting that everyone has this little bit of like, it's like an aspirational lie. Because what you really meant to say is, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to learn how to do it. Yeah. That's what it is. Okay. So beyond the clarinet in the cupboard story.
It's an aspirational lie.
It's an aspirational lie. I think we have a lot of those.
You should call it an aspirational mistruth or something.
Yes, that's
kind of sounds more
for that.
As we're speaking, there's a trial going on in the United States, and I half expect to hear the defendants say it was an aspirational lie. I wanted to.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, sorry. My point is this. Okay, so the clarinet in the cupboard is one story. Did you have particular influences as a young person, Max? Because it seems to me, I'm just looking, no one can see this that's listening to us. The background is all a variety of musical instruments. So are you, let's skip ahead. Let's skip ahead for one moment, Max. Are you currently a multi-instrumentalist?
Yeah, I mean, I play a keyboard, so there's about.
We're in a saxophone, the trombone, piano.
No, I don't play the trombone.
Sorry, not the trombone. The big.
I play saxophones, multiple saxophones, and keyboards. Yeah, but
you play multiple saxophones. How do you play multiple saxophones at once?
Well, have you ever heard of Roland Kirk?
Okay, so
he
you
used to actually do that, but no, I don't play them at once.
Okay,
but,
I'm just teasing.
There's loads of synthesizers here in our studio. If you look about.
Yeah, no, I can. Yes, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
I thought didn't you actually grab an instrument? I thought you were going to play something for us.
Oh yeah, that was just to sync.
Our sync point for the start of the interview.
Oh. Yeah. I can't even hear. I didn't hear anything. Was that a cowbell?
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll do it again.
Oof,
that's
there it is. Okay.
I nearly hurt my
I'm sure the mic has it. I don't hear it at the moment because there's some sort of noise filter. But anyway, that's cool.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, it plays the saxophone, baritone sax, and piano,
alto sax,
piano, and sometimes even tinkles on the drums as well. Yeah, he kind of does everything. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just skip ahead from the clarinet in the cupboard to the fact that you can play.
I feel like we're talking about me too much.
Oh.
Oh no, not at all. We're talking. I hope not. Maybe some. Are you timing it? I'm not timing it. I'm trying to make this balanced and equal.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I'm just
not used to doing the interviews.
No, I understand. It's fine. I appreciate it.
He's being shy. He's being shy.
Yeah, this will be quick. This will be relatively quick and painless. I just want to establish how we got to where we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the music on this in this band is so lush and full and imaginative that I just really enjoy it. So I'm an interviewer, but I'm like a private investigator. I want to try to figure out how we got to this point in your life that you and Enno are making this music together. So let's just be quick about it. I'm just curious about, influences you might have had, because the instruments that Enno is describing that you can play, maybe more in the jazz realm, perhaps.
Because he's
I started
jazz
off.
background.
I did study jazz.
You see,
at Sydney Conservatory, actually.
Yeah.
His background is jazz.
I read about this, that you have your conservatory trained. My private investigation skills on full display. I just wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth. So you took music very seriously after the clarinet in the cupboard. Is that fair, Max?
Possibly a bit too seriously. But, no, I did. You did. I'm not that proud of it.
It should be though. We actually paid a visit to the conservatory when we went to Australia when we had to go and do WOMAD, and they were so happy to see him back, and they were so impressed. Because they didn't know who he was though, but they were really impressed that he'd come back to see where he studied, and I was.
That's lovely. Well. That's amazing. Good for you. That's great. So did you before? So we've established this is Enno's first band. Did you play in a bunch of bands, Max?
Yeah. I played. I did. I've done a lot of different things.
Okay. Nice.
But nothing and nothing anyone really would have heard of, perhaps. nothing special.
You know, for those listening, Australia, Nigeria might seem like remote places to some, just because they haven't been there. Maybe here's what I'm getting at. They might be off the beaten path for Western musicians to come and tour, perhaps.
Yeah.
To get to see your heroes might be a rare occurrence. Enno, did you get to see, like you mentioned, some of the music you were exposed to? Did you get to see any big shows when you were at home in Nigeria?
When we kind of saw, I would have seen King Sunny Ade, because my mom loved Sunny Ade. It was like a more like the Afrobeat jùjú kind of, we call them jùjú, Fuji music, more like very heavy talking drum bass with a bit of highlife. And I mean, I would have loved to see Fela, but at the time growing up, my mom considered the shrine like a bit of a no-go area for us, pretty much. It was like, yeah, she likes Fela's music, but he's a bit of a troublemaker, so you're not going to the shrine.
Bad things might happen.
Things might happen. So no, so we couldn't. I mean, I would have loved to, but I heard a lot of stories. My friends that, went to the shrine would come back after holidays and tell us everything that went down and the music and all. But yeah, that was kind of it though. I didn't really see too many big shows. Yeah.
Well, could you be in danger or trouble if you sort of revealed your adoration for Fela?
Well, at the time, I mean, I think it would have been a case of I could have got in trouble, because it would have meant that maybe I did go to the shrine after being told I wasn't allowed to go to the shrine. Yeah. So it was kind of a thing of, okay, you heard the music, obviously, because he was talking about political stuff and a lot of stuff that was going on around the country. So I would say it was when I got much older that I kind of appreciated his music.
Hey, thanks for listening to Creative Control, as always. As you may have heard me mention, I recently lost my day job, and I've had a few conversations with people since who've said, you had a day job? I thought your podcast was your day job. When I explained why it hasn't been my day job to a friend, he suggested I should share some of this information with people like you listening right now. So, in short, unless they have some giant exclusive $1 million contract, podcasters are not paid to make stuff by companies like Apple and Spotify. Podcasters do not make any money from streaming royalties. Ad revenue is dependent on a certain threshold of downloads each month, and even if your show is accessed 30,000 times a month, the income you get is actually really minimal. So podcasters like me usually make time in our lives to support our communities and our interests to make these shows, and our most reliable source of income for this work is in fact crowdfunding. In my case, it's my Patreon. So if you'd like to receive ad-free episodes earlier than everyone else, regular newsletters and blog posts, bonus audio content, and support my work, quite literally, please visit patreon.com/creativecontrol today. Thank you so much for listening to this excerpt from a recent episode of Creative Control with Vish Khanna. Every other Creative Control episode is only accessible to Patreon supporters. This is one of them. So please visit patreon.com/creativecontrol and become a subscriber today, and you won't miss a single episode in its entirety. There are links in the show notes to take you right there. So if you're able to, please do support this show and enjoy hours and hours of conversation. Thank you.